Good morning. You want to see how we made this nice Cypress cutting board and this little insert tray for our trunk project? Stay tuned, because that's what we're going to do today. Well, welcome to another Memphis Monday 257, the 49th week, I guess, of our 5th year. Last couple of weeks we have been working on this restored trunk. We did the outside 2 weeks ago. We did the inside last week. Today we really are going to finish it up. We had some of the wood from the original trunk that I wasn't able to save. Well, we're going to save it today. We're going to turn it into a serving tray, and we're also going to throw in a cutting board. But we're not going to get any of that done unless we get excited, knock off the chit chat, and get to work. This is one thing I've added since last week. Remember these? I didn't have these slats in there. I was having problems with this material sticking on this curved surface. It either had some oil on it or something, but it was sticking, but I figured over the years it would begin to sag because it wasn't sticking real good. So I made these slats up and put these decorative screws in. I think it looks pretty good. Actually, it looks like I planned it that way, but I think that's going to hold this material in indefinitely. This is that 100-year-old wood we want to save. You know, it's rough hewn, but it's got this old-time paper covering on it that I just hate to throw that away. It's 100 years old. So we're going to make a little serving tray out of it, and we're going to line the tray with the same material that we line the inside of the box with. Another thing we're going to do different, I think we ever have done this before, we're going to put the tray together using these little nails. These are upholstery nails, and the reason we're going to do that is because the original was put together with nails. And so we're going to duplicate that construction with same size nails. And we're going to make a little cutting board. I think I'm going to cut this thing's 2 feet long. I think I'll cut it into two 12 by cutting boards, 1.5 inch thick. Okay, let's see if we can connect this wood together. I'm going to put this together with nails. This wood's very old and fragile. This is a upholstery tack hammer. I got my bottom all ready, but I'm going to have a little fiddling to do. Let me show you what I mean. That's not just an optical illusion. What you're looking at is these sides here are bowed in. You know, this wood is real old and warped. So I'm going to have to put my bottom on I'll secure it down at this end, and then I'll have to push those sides out. I already put glue down. This glue is going to get all squirrely on me, I'm afraid. Okay, let's get excited. I'm going to use these real tiny staples here. Start off by lining it up down here at the very end and make all my alignments off of this end down here. And I'll stain it with this same Carrington color I stained everything else with. It's got to be careful not to get any on the sides. Because that's where that wallpaper is. I got our little antique box done, framed up. Still going to put a liner in it, just like the liner we put in the trunk. Let's let this dry and go take a look at our cutting board project. I'll go ahead and take this cutting board. I'm almost positive we're going to make two, but we'll run them together, run the whole big piece through the sander and sand them down. Tell you what, I was going to turn this into a end grain cutting board, but the quarter sawn looks so good that I'm just going to leave it like this. Now the end grain cutting board is really the creme de la creme, but the average person's not going to know the difference and probably doesn't need to. You know, if you're making a cutting board for a chef or a butcher or somebody that's going to use it for 12 hours a day for 20 years, that's one thing. But for the average person, a quarter sawn like this will work just fine. We've been putting epoxy on some of our cutting boards this year, kind of as an experiment. But what you're supposed to put on them is butcher block oil and beeswax. But butcher block oil for sure. Now with the quarter sawn, this butcher block oil is not going to soak in as well. Here's our big cutting board. So this is, I never said what it's made of. The thinner pieces here are Cypress. And then the wider, these wider pieces that are lighter and on the ends are cherry. Well, now I guess we can let this dry just a little bit more, and then we'll put this little bottom in it. I got that liner cut out. Here's the fabric, and here's a piece of cardboard we're going to mount it to. And I'm using spray adhesive, and I'll put a coat of spray adhesive over both sides and then let it dry until it gets almost completely dry. Now I let the adhesive dry a little bit. Got to be careful here because it doesn't. Okay, now I need to put a little bit of adhesive around the edge here so that I can flatten my edges up. While I'm at it, I'll spray the inside of my box. Now I've already sprayed the inside of the box, and I've sprayed the back of this. So all I have to do is roll up the edges. Should stick pretty easy. Now see, this is almost dry, or it is dry. So the beauty of this adhesive, it's like rubber cement. You know, you put it on and let it dry, and then the rubber cement will stick to itself. I think chemically this adhesive is rubber cement. They just thinned it down with a solvent. Now the last thing I do is I got to put adhesive around on this edge right here because this doesn't have any adhesive. I got it on here, but not around the edges. And while that adhesive is curing up a little bit, we'll put another coat of butcher block oil on this cutting board. Finally, after all that, try to put this thing in there. Got to get it really lined up good, because once it's in there, it's in there. Well, there's our little tray insert. We preserved that 100-year-old wood. Lined it with the same stuff we put in the trunk. There's our Cypress cutting board, quarter sawn cutting board. And here's our completed project. We restored the trunk. We restored the inside of the trunk. We built that tray. We made that little insert tray using the old wood. And we're throwing in a cutting board, Cypress cutting board. It's always good to throw in a few bonuses. Well, that'll do it for Memphis Monday 257, week 49 of year 5. We finally completed our this project here. It really took us 3 weeks because we had so much to do, but we got that old wood recycled. We made that nice little insert tray there, and we threw in a Cypress cutting board. We were going to make it end grain, but we decided to make it quarter sawn because it looks so good. We're going to have to start using more Cypress for cutting boards because it really looks good. All right, like, favorite, share, all the stuff you do on the internet. I guess that's about it. Nope, one more thing. Make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.